Yesterday, Bobby Marks of ESPN was on, and I'm going to use the exact words that he used. He said that the Lakers expect the Lakers to be extremely aggressive this offseason. What does extremely aggressive? What is? If I said what's that definition to you for the Lakers? What do you make of extremely aggressive? What kind of vision would that look like? That by the time we're sitting here in a couple of months, what does it? What should extremely aggressive look like to you?
Extremely aggressive means they've added multiple pieces here. They are not sitting where they were in August of last year, where Lakers fans were, myself included, were in disbelief that they had chosen to sit out the offseason effectively. Now, the Lakers have been patient historically with they didn't feel like the right move was available. They've waited into the season. I think extremely aggressive means that's not going to be the Lakers this year. Means this Lakers team, Rob Pelinka, they've heard Luka say, yes, I want to stay with the Lakers. They're not going to take that for granted. They don't want to show up empty-handed on August 2nd when Luka can officially sign an extension with the Lakers. They want to present that extension to him and say, Luka, here's your extension, and you're going to be throwing lobs to this guy that we went out and got, and this guy is going to be with you, and this guy. We added these pieces. We have a team that's ready to roll, that's built around you, around your timeline. Sign right here. That's what extremely aggressive is going to mean. They add pieces that are going to fit with Luka's timeline to make Luka feel all warm and fuzzy about signing that contract extension with the Lakers. So I look at the backbone of that Mark Williams trade, and I think that is the starting point for all of these different trade discussions the Lakers are going to have, whether it's for a big or otherwise. It's Dalton Connect, it's expiring salary, it's future draft capital, and we'll see what Rob Pelinka can get done with that. Now, they have a very finite amount of resources to use to actually swing these trades. They do have a decent amount of expiring contracts. When we take a look at Rui Hachimura at $18 million, Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber at $11 million and $11.5 million, you've got expiring money you can potentially move. I expect multiple moves from the Lakers this year. That $5.6 million taxpayer mid-level exception, they're going to use that on somebody. And so I think that extremely aggressive means we're going to see them get, and I hope they do it, they're going to get not a guy, but the guy for the center position long-term. If that fails, that's where maybe you use that $5.6 million mid-level exception, taxpayer mid-level, on like a Clint Capella, Brooke Lopez, somebody like that you could at least tell Luka, hey, we've got somebody to be at the position for the time being. But I think for the Lakers, extremely aggressive means they go get whoever they think is the long-term fit. Luka, this is going to be your lob partner for the next 5 years. Getting that guy is, I think, what extremely aggressive is going to look like.
Trev, you think they can do that without? Can they do that with the pieces they have without giving up Austin Reeves? Can you get the guy the guy that you're describing, that when you get to August 2nd and you're sitting in front of Luka, it's interesting with Luka because I think there's two angles on this. I don't know how you felt, but I thought once the Lakers got Luka Doncic, I didn't really think there was going to be a lot of tension towards Luka, as in, hey, if things didn't work out, Luka, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Are you in shape? Are you not in shape? I think the way that roster was constructed, there were a lot of people being a lot more critical towards Luka during the season or during the playoffs, fair or unfair, that you're right. I think Luka is going to look at that roster and say, and I expect him to stay with the Lakers, but I think he is going to say, listen, I'm going to get more and more pressure on me, especially if you guys don't figure out how to make this roster whole. And I think everybody understands that the roster isn't whole, but to get a player that you think is going to be with Luka for X amount of years, can you do that with the pieces they have without giving up Austin Reeves?
I think so. I think the challenge with that for Rob, and maybe he's going to have to take some more opposing GMs out for coffee, I don't know, but the challenge for Rob is he showed his hand. He showed exactly what he was willing to give up to get their big of the future and what they thought they were getting in Mark Williams. So teams know that's the starting point, and teams also recognize how desperate the Lakers are to get a big, and so they're going to try to drive the price up. Fortunately, I think the market, there's a decent number of bigs that are going to be available. There's a few stopgap options that are out there in free agency as well. I think if the Lakers suddenly have the starting center job open to free agents, they're not able to get the guy on the trade market, they become the most attractive landing spot for any of these veteran bigs. So I do think that Rob's not in the worst position negotiating wise, but he has already showed his hand. I do think they can get somebody, though. I think they can get that guy finding somebody, though, that can be a lob threat, that can be a rim protector as well, it's not going to be necessarily an easy task, but I think they'll be able to get that done without including Austin Reeves. Now, of course, if you want to get into like Jaren Jackson Jr., Bam Adebayo, and I'm not saying the Lakers can get these guys, but you got to be willing to part with Austin Reeves to get to that level. But when we're talking like the Nick Claxtons of the world, if it's you go back to the Mavs and you're talking Daniel Gafford or someone along those lines. I don't even know if Walker Kessler is a thing. Anybody sounds like he's probably not. But if we're talking like Mitchell Robinson with the Knicks, we're talking Goga Bitadze with the Orlando Magic, any of these kind of guys, yeah, you should be able to get a player of that caliber without including Austin Reeves. I'll tell you, I know the Lakers would not include Austin Reeves to get any of those guys. So I think they can accomplish it without moving Reeves, as long as they're not trying to get that like all-star tier big man.
There's levels. Yeah. And that's the best way to put it. And I think, I did a video, I think it was last week, where I'm like, listen, I heard the names, Jared Allen, Nick Claxton, you mentioned Gafford. Cool. All those players sound like they'd be great fits for the Lakers. I'm not giving up Austin Reeves, basically the biggest trade piece that I have for one of those guys. Now, if you start talking about different types of players that, like you mentioned, the Bam Adebayos, Jaren Jackson Jr., and again, we don't know if these guys would even be available, then that's a different conversation. That's a real conversation that you understand, what would be at stake if you want to get that caliber of a player. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.